I'm Brandon Smith, and I'm the workplace therapist. My entire purpose and passion in life is one singular thing, and that's to help you live a life free from dysfunction. And let's be honest, folks, dysfunction is everywhere. Our bosses, our coworkers, our neighbors, even that grumpy barista that pours your coffee. And sometimes, that dysfunction stares back at us in the face when we're getting ready in the mornings and we see ourselves in the mirror. Well, at the end of the day, life and work should not have to suck. The purpose of this show is to help you overcome those roadblocks in your life to help you realize the life you've always wanted.
So the idea being is that things aren't linear. A lot of times they go like this, is the point.
So what do people, people often use another businessy term, they'll say hockey stick. It's kind of like an S-curve, right?
It is. I guess the only difference is that there's typically a plateau at some point too, right? So
Hockey stick, it's kind of like this?
Yeah, like...
But not L like loser, but like hockey stick.
and it plateaus at some point. So here's a perfect example. You graduate from school, right? Let's say you get a job in accounting or something like that. In the early days, you're learning and you're not very good at it. And then towards the middle part, you get really good at it. But then eventually you start getting bored. You're really good at it, but you're bored and you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
And so the reason I bring that up, and I tell students too, is that there's all these different S-curves in your life, and you should know where you are. Are you at this part of it, or this part of it, or this part of it? And one's not necessarily better than the other.
Okay, so that is like a really important point, because people might not either be honest with themselves or be able to recognize where they're at.
That's true.
So because in a perfect world, while it's stressful, you like the part of the S where you're going up.
Yes, we're all
like,
doers.
yeah,
we're all doers. We like to win, right?
Go.
Yeah.
And so when you start to plateau, you might be like, oh no, like this is just a break in the season. I'm still go. And you may not want to recognize that no, things are starting to trend downward. You know what I mean?
And I guess that's where you want to have really people you trust that are honest and can give you really constructive feedback. I mean, there were times in my career where we'd meet and it was very clear I was in some kind of plateau funk, and we'd over dinner and drinks, you'd push me and say, is this really what you want? Is this comfortable? And I guess on some level you need to surround yourself with people like that who can kind of push you. But on the flip side of that, I think there are seasons in your life where it's okay to be plateauing a little bit, right? There might be things going on in your family life or where you are where it's okay to just be coasting a little bit and give yourself a little grace. So, to your point, I think you need to know what you need and where you are.
Yeah, and your level of ambition and season of life. Okay, so I'm going to use another kind of analogy, another geeky analogy.
Yep.
So people that are in like a product or service, particularly product, they'll talk about product life cycles, which is like an S-curve.
That is totally an S-curve,
okay. And so what they get all like fascinated on is when they see their product going up on that S-curve, they're immediately thinking, I got to build another product. And so could this be another way, when we go back to our gig economy kind of idea?
You're right.
Like you're building another thing. In case the thing you're doing starts to plateau, you've got another thing that's on the rise.
That makes sense.
Kind of like putting more irons in the fire.
I love that idea.
I mean, I'm all about diversified portfolio of stuff. You know that. Partly because I have ADD. Partly because, that's not a good driver.
No.
He needs to work on his S-curve.
Wow.
And there goes our camera again.
Pulling right in front of a big Yukon full of 7 people? Not good.
Not cool.
Not cool.
His S-curve has clearly plateaued. It's not good. Okay, thumbprints on the camera, John. Oh, look at that finger.
Did somebody graduate here?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
But now
is the tassel in the way or no?
It's totally in the way. You totally tasseled the camera.
Tassel.
You're not a good camera operator.
No. It's true.
Your S-curve is plateaued there.
It's true. To your point, though, it's like, I think it is good. It's good to have a lot of irons in the fire. I think a perfect example is that you see people retire and then they totally don't know what to do, right? So they've had an S-curve professionally in their life, but they haven't developed any hobbies or passions or things like that. And so my next door neighbor, and when I used to live close by here, actually, he retired and then he bought a boat and then he found himself fishing on a Wednesday afternoon. He's like, what the hell am I doing? Right? Because he didn't actually have other hobbies or things to do. So I think all of us, especially people who are really curious, be a three-dimensional person. Don't don't think that just the S-curve you're working on right now is your entire life. And like you said, I mean, you have some things going here like really flat, and some things that are ramping, and some things that are plateauing. Another example for me might be, I was telling you earlier, is that I spent the first 45 years of my life not exercising at all. And then this last year...
I told you, dude. I said, you're looking svelte. Svelte. That's what I said.
With a V.
Svelte.
With a V.
Yeah, I did say that. With the V.
No, it's that's kind of an S-curve too. You know, the first time you exercise after a long time, it hurts, and it just you're really crappy at it. But after a while, you start getting like addicted to it, and it's fun.
My stomach's working on an S-curve. It's not the right kind of S-curve, though. Well, I need to flatten out my stomach.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not
for sure.
a good curve.
So what are you? Do you have any new S-curves in your life?
Yeah, we're driving to do the podcast right now.
That's so true.
This is an S-curve. This is all right happening, and it could be a train wreck, maybe flattening out right now.
I think it's good because all the traffic's on the other side.
Look at that car.
Do you use?
Sweet.
Do you use Waze? Should we be using Waze to get around?
I thought you knew where we were.
No, this is getting towards your house though.
Oh.
There's a Trader Joe's close by too.
No, we already passed the Trader Joe's.
Oh, did we?
We did.
So when you think about kind of S-curves and doing new things outside of, I mean, this podcast per se, in the car podcast. Podcast was a new thing for you this year, right? How's that been going?
Podcast, it's been going great for me.
Yeah?
Hopefully it's been going great for you too.
I know, right? Right. If you're listening this far.
It's been fun because my whole reason for doing it was I realized more people wanted to get their content while they're in motion. They wanted to be listening to stuff that would help make their lives better, either while they're working out, while they're commuting to work. And this was a good way to do that. And it was a way to make it fun and bring on really fun, cool people like you and like jam on a topic that might help people think differently about how they do their life.
Do you think that, what would you say to people who maybe wanted to start a podcast of their own? What's kind of your tips and tricks and things that you've discovered? Because it's very different from writing or other ways of being in front of a workshop or classroom and things like that, right?
Well, it's kind of, if you want to start a podcast on your own, I think it's a weird combination of two things you have to include in that recipe.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going left here, and I did not want to go left, but we're doing it. We're doing this thing. This is happening right now.
Do you mean wave you over, or?
No.
Okay.
No. We're just going to do this because that's how we roll.
I like it. So, combination of two things.
Two things that are not necessarily in the same bucket. So one, you have to be kind of structured. You have to have, like, good podcasts have a topic and theme and have some set of points.
Makes sense, yeah.
So ours is a little loose today, but they should have like 2 points, 3 points, 5 points. So
yeah.
Kind of like if you're writing a blog.
Yeah.
You're like, here's the 5 things. And you kind of go in and out. So it's almost kind of outline format.
Okay.
On the other hand, it's got to be really unstructured, loose, flexible, authentic. Oh, the camera made the turn. Yes.
It's tape.
That was close. So it's going to have some of that element to it. Like the fact we just turned left. And I don't really know where we're going, but it's going to be a good journey.
But I like that. It's kind of like very tight and loose, right?
Tight and loose.
Yeah,
you have to have tight and loose. And there's a level of authenticity. So for a podcast, it's a little bit different than a blog. A blog, you can
edit,
review and edit and review and edit and get like your tone and tenor just right.
Right.
When you're doing a podcast, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. In all of its glorious, masterful train wreckiness.
No, I think there's
train wreckiness a word?
It's not.
I think I just made that word up.
It's not.
Hashtag copyright.
So we are in, for those people who don't live, we're in Roswell, Georgia, which is...
Not anymore.
Oh, where are we?
We left that.
Where are we now?
We moved into Woodstock, and now we're moved into East Cobb.
So we do need to get gas. I think we had a range of 50 miles when we started.
No, we're going to the end. You ever seen Seinfeld? We're going to see how far this thing can go. Do you remember that episode, Kramer? He's with the guy with the car, and they wanted to see how far he could go on a full tank of gas.
And did they find out?
Yeah. They ran out of gas on the highway.
Let's not do that.
No, we're not. Well, we could do that. That'd be exciting. Okay, so S-curves. So you had some more points. Get the next one. Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
So let's talk a little bit more about other ways to diversify your portfolio. So I will say right here, out loud, that I am not a big fan of having a corporate job. And it's not just because it doesn't fit my personality, but because it gives you the illusion of security.
Right.
When in reality, if it was an investment, that's the equivalent of you putting all your money into one stock.
Right.
And if it crashes and burns, you got nothing.
True.
Versus doing a diversified portfolio of income streams. So stocks can go up and down, but at the end of the day, you still have a good return over time. So that's my issue with having salary jobs for corporations, thinking, oh, I've got some kind of job security. And as we saw with Coca-Cola laying off 1,500 people, because so many different business models are changing so quickly, that's an illusion. So I think there's something to be said for putting more irons in a fire, so you immediately have something you can jump to if the thing you're doing, its S-curve accelerates.
I like that.
Like all of a sudden, people aren't buying soda anymore. It's not Coke's fault, but people aren't buying soda anymore. It's not in. And they've been trying to diversify, get more water and teas into their portfolio, but not quick enough to save people's jobs.
And I think another element of that, completely agree. I think another element of that is that the feedback loop inside corporate America is very slow and crickety and not very useful. So, in other words...
Crickety. That's got to be a word.
Correct. It like creaks. So
I was thinking more like crickets that chirp.
No, creak like in a board. Like your knees right now.
I like the crickety one
like
with the crickets that chirp. Hashtag copyright number 2.
So, like when you're in big corporate America, I mean, there are times where you may not know your true market value. And it's to the point where you may not be as good as you think you are, which then if you leave, it's kind of a dramatic kind of happening. So to your point, one, it's good to have a lot of irons in the fire and have a set of capabilities and resources and a network and really be able to deliver kind of good value stuff to people. And that could be in the form of a job or an investment, rental properties, stuff like that. And even if it's not, even if you're in corporate America, which is fine for me. For me, it was a really good fit. You need to find ways to validate that worth externally, right?
Yeah.
Because just because you're getting a 3 or 4 rating out of 5 every year doesn't necessarily mean that if you were to leave the company, somebody would buy it. What do you think about that?
I think that's fair. But I also think it has to do a lot with resilience and your own confidence. So if you stay doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then that thing goes away, you may lose the belief in yourself that you can do anything else. And so resilience, everyone talks about resilience being such a cool thing, and it is a cool thing. But the irony in resilience is the only way you develop resilience is by intentionally putting yourself in states of discomfort. Who wants to do that? Like, I would rather just do the same thing every day and have that sense of security and confidence. But when you intentionally put yourself in states of discomfort, that's where you develop resilience.
And would you argue that there tends to be more resilience when you're not in a W-2 kind of job? You're 1099. 1099 by its nature is more resilience, right? Because
of course.
You have to go and hunt the bear.
Oh, you have to. You eat what you kill. I mean, they often talk about that, but I learned, and now the way I think is time value of money.
Time value of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if I'm going to spend time with someone, immediately there's a cost trade-off to that.
Sure.
Because that's billable hours for me. Everything's billable hours.
Right.
Whereas if I had a salary, it's really you lose that connectivity. You don't get the idea that my time has worth, because you're. So here's the analogy that I use, because my mind is crazy. And so I used to think when I started my own business, well, it's like owning a restaurant. And you gotta
have a menu,
cook your dishes, make your menu, cook your dishes, get people to come in. You gotta market the restaurant. You gotta get people to come in and eat your food, and then eventually refer it to other people. Over time, though, I have changed that concept in my mind completely to now my life is like a hotel. And so I have rooms that I have to sell. And I sell them at different price points.
A fixed number of rooms.
Fixed number of rooms.
Yep.
And so I can do a contract in one area over here and sell a bulk of rooms, and I might sell at slightly lower price to get that security. And then sell one room at a higher price point because they're buying just one room at the last minute. And I think that way of thinking is helpful in terms of how you look at your time. Because if I'm giving you this, that means I can't give it over here.
So taking that analogy and talking about having side gigs and things like that, and making sure that you have some market value outside of your job, if something were to happen, or the next big adventure that you're going to be on. It also makes me think that the number of quote unquote hotel rooms that you have is more than 40 hours a week, right? So if you think about it, like when you leave, let's say you leave work at 5:30 a day, and you really want to think about having a portfolio of things and businesses, that doesn't mean you're all sold out. I mean, after the kids go to bed, if you really have some passion around getting good at something, there's 3 or 4 more hours left every day, right?
Yeah,
Weekend.
you can totally do stuff. Absolutely. It depends upon how many rooms. You can have as many rooms in your hotel as you want to a certain degree, depending upon how you create that capacity.
I think that's to me, that's the big one. If you ever listen to Dave Ramsey's podcast, and people talk about having all the student debt and all this other stuff, and then he asks all these questions about having side gigs and different jobs and stuff like that. After asking 2 or 3 questions, what he realizes that you've got an extra 40 hours a week if you really have a lot of passion around getting out of debt. So there's a lot more rooms and time that you could fill up doing very meaningful things if you chose to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. Okay, so then when you made the shift from going, you said corporate work fit you really well. You made that comment.
It did.
That happened. I wasn't just the only person that heard that. So then you said, now I'm not going to do that, and I want to teach strategy in a business school.
Right.
That's a different animal. What went into your head to make that switch?
Sure.
Because there are people listening to this right now that are sitting in corporate jobs saying, like, I really want to teach at university, or I really want to do something else.
Right.
Open my own cupcake store.
Right.
And I would go there because I'm working on my S-curve.
Right.
So what went into that?
I think it's a couple things. It has a lot to do with, I think, seasons of your life, but I guess 3 things, first of all. One is the world is a great place to learn, and so I think a lot of the type of problems that you and I like to solve, and viewers of the podcast like to solve, are complex, difficult, hairy, ambiguous problems. Can we go to Chick-fil-A?
We should.
Okay.
It's not quite. It's kind of that. It's lunchtime. It is lunchtime.
So I think one is it's a great place to learn, right? So when you're a consultant or you have a chance to work on different projects, different industries, you're doing different stuff and learning. So that's awesome. The money's not bad. And then also it's a little bit regimented. It's like, first you're going to do this, then you're going to do that, then you're going to learn this, then you're going to learn that. Which I think, I would argue, in the early days of your professional S-curve, that's kind of very comforting. Not everybody wants to jump into the forest and try to make their way to the jungle. So I think there's...
job plus the right culture plus the right boss equals workplace happiness. The number one reason people leave jobs is problems with their boss. A horrible boss can make us dread every Monday, but an amazing boss can make us so excited to work that we'd go in on weekends. Finding your perfect boss is not only possible, it's one of the most impactful steps you can take in crafting your perfect career. Visit theworkplacetherapist.com and click on guides to learn how to find and get your perfect boss, whether that means making the decision to move on or turning your current boss into the perfect leader you want them to be. Our bosses have so much influence over our work and our whole day. Working for the right boss alone can be a winning career strategy.
Some security involved there, and that's why a lot of people out of business school go into banking and consulting and marketing and finance, because it's a very clear path. And that's why a lot of people don't go into entrepreneurship, because that's just by its nature more variable, right?
But aren't those somewhat perceptions or perceived clarity around path?
Yes, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way that, if you look at the alumni network, you're going to see a lot of people who did that thing, right? So, our alumni, we have a lot of bankers, consultants, marketing, finance people. So, if we talk about networking and developing relationships and helping people and then getting helped, well, lo and behold, those tend to be the people that are available to you. So it's a bit of an echo chamber for sure. But that's why also we had dinner maybe a year or two ago, and I said, I need to hang out with people who are not MBAs. Because literally, like, my friend network and my social network and
That's
my work
why
network.
I haven't seen you in 2 years.
I know. Do you have an MBA?
That is why. I've always wondered.
No, but it just shows you, like, having kind of a diversity of network. Like, the strength of your network a lot of times is how deep you go with that person, but then also how diverse it is.
Yep.
And I think part of my network, all you guys who I know, is a lot of the same kind of people. In the sense that they all tend to have MBAs, went into consulting, have corporate jobs, and do those kind of things.
So broaden that perspective.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. We're all seasons of life too, right? I remember one of the first times I went to I think the first time I went to your house was for your 30th birthday, and you've changed a lot since your 30th birthday.
My hair was a little more salt and pepper then.
It was. Everybody wore black that day.
Good Lord.
I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And that was when 30 was still something respectable. Yeah.
That hurt my heart. I shed 30 tears that day.
I'm sure you did.
Cried a little bit after that.
I'm sure you did. So, if you were, what advice do you have for people who want to? They're in corporate America and it's still working for them now, but to start thinking more portfolio. What were your thoughts? What would you say?
So very simply put, everyone can do this. Anyone who's in corporate America right now, even if you're stable and you enjoy it or you're not willing to make a big risk, take a big risk, the mindset shift easily you can make is view everybody right now that you work with as either a current or future customer.
Like it.
Just that simple change will get you operating differently inside your organization, and it'll probably result in good stuff. But even if things do change, all of a sudden then you can figure out, how do I take this company that I was working for and turn them into a client? Because that can be your first client. Your first client can be the place that you're working right now. If something changed, then you can turn and become a contractor.
So, I love that. It sounds like the first thing is just really your mindset and your approach.
Yep, mindset.
Because a lot of people, there's that saying that people retire on the job. They actually go to work, but they're actually mentally retired already. Yep. They actually don't throw themselves out there. They don't put themselves at risk. They're not shipping art. I love that. Have you been to the optometrist recently?
No.
That's unsettling.
And I'm driving.
Riding in your car, that's really unsettling.
However, my hearing is incredible. I can see that car right there? I can hear their conversation. Right there. All these people.
So is this still Roswell?
No, we're in East Cobb.
There's so much new construction.
We're rocking and rolling.
There are some huge, ugly houses here, huh? Wow. And when it says when it says starts in the 900s, it really means it's like 1.1.
Yeah.
Right? You need to add 100,000.
It means the first house that was built or the first house in the neighborhood is 900.
Right.
No one wants the first house right on the road.
With carpet, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
With carpet. Are you knocking carpet? You're throwing shaded carpet.
I am throwing shaded carpet. How much carpet do you have in the house? Couldn't afford the wood? Whoa!
John will not be joining us after the gas station.
Too close.
Someone will be Ubering back to the station.
Too soon. Too soon. You guys take your shoes off in the house?
We don't as much as we should. We do about half the time. And my wife actually said the other day, she said, I really want to start that as, we should be doing that. That's
a good mid-year resolution.
It's a good thing to do, mid-year resolution. Did you just make that up?
I did. Oh, QT's open, and they're pretty affordable. I was...
I knew that, actually.
They have, full-on restaurants at QT now.
They do.
I know.
I would not eat
So, some hot dogs? Corn dogs? Did they sell corn dogs? I love a good corn dog.
They do sell corn
there.
dogs.
From the gas station now?
Yes, gas station
I'll
corn
buy
dog.
a corn dog if you eat a corn dog.
Heck yeah.
Okay, done.
I like the corn dog.
Done.
Can I eat it while I'm driving?
You should.
That would be fantastic.
You really should.
So, are you teaching this summer? I saw something on a Goizueta magazine that you did an evening MBA something.
Oh, that was with her picture too?
With your picture. Yeah.
Was there a picture?
You had
I didn't see this.
You had a svelte, like baby blue jacket on.
It is a svelte jacket. It's a sweet jacket.
No, I believe it.
Yeah, I was in that. I wonder if I've seen that picture before.
So it was.
Yeah, I did do that. That was
it?
a leadership development course for the evening MBA students at Chateau Alon.
Okay.
3 days.
Was there wine involved? They have a winery there.
It's a winery. Of course, there was wine involved.
Yeah. Is it too sweet though?
The wine?
Yeah.
I think it depends upon which one you get.
Yeah.
I didn't get the sweet wine. I don't drink sweet wine.
They had they actually had one of your PowerPoint slides up there on how to be a rock star.
On where?
In the mag. I think it was online.
Oh yeah. I was asked if they could use that, and I said sure. Listen. E is for excited. We're gonna get gas
With ethanol.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
Yeah. So we'll make the corn dog next time. It's a little early for corn dogs actually. 11:30.
Okay.
High carb content. High salt.
First of all, it's never too early for a corn dog. So I don't know where you come off with that.
You've
offended me.
Have you been to a Braves game recently or no?
No.
You haven't been to the new stadium?
I have not been to the new stadium yet.
That's crazy. You were like...
No, I have been to the new stadium for a concert, but not for the proper.
Oh, okay, you've been there for a concert. You were a Braves...
Hold on to our camera.
You were a Braves fan before there were any Braves fan.
Were you?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's a big Braves fan.
So that was like, what, 1925?
That is unacceptable, Whitney.
True.
1925.
So do you follow the Braves now, though? Or do you know how well they've been doing and all that stuff?
I have been following them.
Okay.
They're doing okay. They're like 500.
The lady just threw you some shade.
Did she? Did she look over at me?
She gave you the bird.
Did she really?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're older than I thought. It was 1871.
1971. Wow, that's not nice.
Have you guys been using a lot of the Gen Z parlance?
Abby?
Yeah, like lighting things up, throwing shade.
Oh, the filter, yeah.
With some extra.
That was crazy. Did you see that guy just drive by? He almost like ran us over.
We have full tank of gas?
We have a full tank of gas.
Awesome.
It's on F for free. Freedom. We can go. All right, so what else should we talk about? I'm trying to think what else we should talk about. So any kind of new... just because you're right here and you can't go anywhere, and you didn't get me a hot dog, so now I'm feeling salty.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna like trap you and then start asking you questions.
Yeah,
so
do it.
I asked you this in the last time I had you on the show.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know any of the new thinking around strategy these days, because what worked before doesn't work now because everything's moving so damn fast.
So, right. So, I don't know. I think my point of view is a little bit different from that. I'm not really convinced that it has to be new to work.
Well, okay, so thank you all for listening and joining us today on this adventure. Hopefully you got a ton out of it. I know I learned a ton from my buddy John. And we got to drive around. I learned that this car can go a long way on E without running out of gas.
There are no corn dogs at QT.
I think you're lying to me. I think there were corn dogs there, but you did not want me to improve on my S-curve.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about gig economies and strategy and how basically people can think differently about their career and life. So hopefully you heard this and took away something from it. And so again, keep up the fight of dysfunction. Listen to us every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and watch us every Tuesday at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live. And follow us on Twitter on @the WP Therapist. And of course, you can check out our shows on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next week, have an awesome week and an awesome life. Bye, everybody. Bye.